Welcome to the Tilted Takes podcast. Hey, how's it going? And welcome back to the Tilted Take podcast. I am your host, Endless. I'm joined with the other host, of course, Panda. How's it going, man?
Loving life, man. Just another day at work.
Another day at work, another day of the usual grind. It's it's relatively new for us, right? Well, I shouldn't say us. I should say you. Just the recently graduate getting into the real world. It's fun, huh?
It's a blast, but it's definitely a balance of Fortnite time, podcast time, and just everything else, But
Friends,
but no,
family,
obviously,
work, baseball. Man, you got too
right,
much going on.
right. Yeah, but that Fortnite grind never stops.
No, never. Fortnite definitely kicks out a lot of things.
For sure.
All right. Last time you heard from us, we did a recap from week 5 of Friday Fortnite. Week 6 has taken place. Like Keemstar has been releasing the tournament, like the official brackets, kind of later and later. So, we won't be able to do any prediction episodes where we really talk about who we think will win unless that's released early enough to where me and Panda can sit down and do an episode. So, if that happens, maybe towards the future, we can do those. And then we talked about the E3 event, which was the Pro-Am, which was awesome. And that's where we're going to start the podcast off for this episode. We're going to quickly review the E3. We're going to go in and review Friday Fortnite for week number 6. And then we're going to end with a few more kind of esports announcements, tournament announcements that have happened in the Fortnite scene. So E3 overall was cool. It was cool to see like an official epic event. We saw a spec client. We saw just the format as a whole. The format wasn't announced until like a few hours before the tournament took place. Panda, any major thing that you saw that you loved, that you thought it was different, weird, hated, so on?
I loved the different kind of intros people did. By far the best was C
C's, oh
and
my
Xavier
gosh.
Woods. I mean, let's talk about a gigantic man on the shoulders of a not so gigantic man, but obviously very strong being a wrestler.
Oh
But
my god.
I mean, who would have thought unicorn matching unicorn onesies was gonna be the best intro of them all?
Yeah, I was definitely impressed, and it was just fun seeing that the content creators and all these famous people with a lot of fans just interacting with people and having fun, and just just it wasn't just a dead serious competition that you may see with actual pro teams, and it was a great event overall. Spec client, let's talk about that real quick. That was a very pretty big trendy topic on the Reddit. A lot of people enjoyed it. A lot of people said that Epic does need to look at it and see how they can, maybe make it more enjoyable for viewers to watch. There was a few weird angles, a few weird things that were happening that was kind of hard to keep track of what was happening. But for the most part, it was cool to see like the full map, to see everyone's names, to see people where we're landing, and that was kind of our first really look at maybe a spec client in Fortnite.
Yeah, it was definitely something that added a new view to it, and to let the announcers as Golden Boy and Lupo and uh, the others talk about just different ways and different viewpoints of how people are playing and what they're doing, and
Mm-hmm.
definitely having Lupo there to give the more technical actual kind of breakdown of what's going strat wise was awesome. View I thought was really cool, and all in all, it was just a very well put together event. Especially since afterwards you saw they came out and they're like, "Look, like we actually had a lot of problems with this." So I think for what it was and being the start of it all, I think it was awesome. I think they couldn't
Yeah.
have really done much better without having a trial run like this.
No, the problems need to happen, especially with going forward. They made a huge announcement. Me and you obviously want to talk about this as well. They made some future Fortnite announcements. They have this thing called the World Cup that's going to be taking place for the 20, is it 2018,
19.
2019? Yeah, 2019. So, and they announced it's going to be duos and but
Solos.
yeah, duos, solos, but like squads isn't out of it because they also are supporting, pretty much anyone that runs a tournament. They're going to support them as well. So, if a bigger not a big company, but a company wants to put on a squads tournament, maybe they'll partner up with Epic and have a prize pool there, and that would be squads. So it's not like squads are completely out, but for Epic, they're definitely focusing on solos. Wow. Solos and duos. That's that. I just combined solos and duos. Only a special person can do that. So I don't know. My opinion is I love it. A lot of the comp scene and competitive players hated it. Pan, I don't know where you stand on that announcement and how you feel about the early future of Fortnite esports.
I thought it was awesome. I think it kind of went along with the prediction that we thought something major was going to happen. Obviously, it wasn't something necessarily in game like a gun or a new part of the map or nothing crazy like that. But I mean, we thought that there was a chance they would announce something big, and this is what it was.
Hmm.
Um, Solo duo wise, I see no problem with it. Where I thought it was interesting, like you said, that a lot of the teams kind of reacted differently to it, was what I thought was interesting. I I don't necessarily understand why it bothers them so much to not play squads. Like, yes, you are scrimming as a squad, but you play with these kind of guys. Like, you play with these guys all day. Like, just figure out who's going to be your best duos and
Yeah.
go from there. I mean, in Phase's example, it's going to be Tfue and Cloakzy. Like, I don't understand why it has to be such a big deal there. But I mean, maybe for some of these smaller teams, that is more of a big deal
Hmm.
that they built it around a
Squads.
squad look, and that instead of looking at like, all right, these two guys can pair up and these two guys can pair up. So I think there's going to be some tweaking the lineups possibly. And I mean, like they said, the squads aren't out of it, so there maybe even be tweaking to the World Cup itself. But no, I think it's awesome. I think that was that 50 cities, 50 events thing that we talked about
Hmm.
too. So I think it's a good chance for everyone to get out there, whether you're a pro, whether you're an amateur, anybody like that, get out there, play, and just see what you can do and test yourself against other people that love the game and just want to play it.
Yeah, Epic early on is definitely going to focus on anyone can get in if you're good enough. Like if you maybe you aren't on TSM, but you're a low key freaking god on Fortnite and you can get in one of these events and prove yourself. I think that's really important. I get why some orgs are upset. I get why some people in the comp scene are upset because they've been playing squads. Epic has never mentioned a word about focusing on solos and duos, so maybe all these people have been wasting their time in scrims. I was actually in one of the pros streams today chatting with him. I asked him how scrims have been going. He says things are definitely weird right now because they do squads for scrims, but they also have now been starting to do duos. So things have been switching up on them. So it is probably rough for the pros, quote unquote. I say pros, that's quote unquote pros. There's really no pros yet. Um, but like it is probably rough for them to get things switched on them like that. They need to switch. They need to focus on duos now, maybe a little more if they're going to be getting into some of these cities to do these World Cup events. So I get that in that aspect, but again, Epic needs to do what's best in their mind, and if that does maybe make a few people mad, then that's just something they have to do.
Well, see, the way I look at it though is I don't see it as so much of a switch because there was no official announcement saying,
Right? They
"Hey, look, we're
assumed that's
playing
their
squads."
fault.
Right? Everyone just decided, "Hey, there's squads. We're gonna team up, form these squads." I mean, at the end of the day, they didn't switch. It's a straight up announcement. So
Yeah.
I see that point, but I don't think it was like I said. I don't think it was a big deal.
Yeah. So the rest of E3 then, they did the warm-up games. They did some practice warm-ups. They did that duo warm-up. They did the official. All right, here's for the real deal. I love that they did that. Gave everyone time to adjust to the new setup, make key bindings correct. Or if you're Tim's case, his shoe and his build were both unbound for all the games besides like the last one. So he just died immediately. It's just typical Tim. I mean, come on, Tim. But hey, I never thought Ninja was gonna win, and he did it. He pulled it out. He played well a couple of those games, but the last game, him and Marshmallow actually pulled it out. I was impressed.
Right. I thought the best, I guess, surprise out of that whole format was the solos part of it first,
Yeah.
which I guess it never even crossed my mind that hey, there's 50 teams and they could split it up and decide to play solos here. Um, but no, I thought that was awesome because it gave everybody really a chance to just kind of show out on their own and see what you had in the non-pro, I guess, teammate aspect of it all. Like
Yeah.
whether you're a Marshmallow or whoever, anybody like see what they could do. But no, I mean, at the end of the day, man, it's Ninja. Ninja is always living for that big moment. Did I think he would? pull it out there at the end with that last game after the first two, I don't know. Because I mean, he lost pretty early to Gallagher in the first one. Um, but no, I thought it was awesome. I thought it was cool too that some of the names we had mentioned uh, were really the higher placers. I mean, if you look at
Yeah.
the top 5 placers, obviously we talked about Ninja, we talked about Courage a lot. Kitty Plays is one of those female gamers that we had talked about, so it was really cool to see her and Chandler Riggs get up there and win $250,000. Stone Mountain was fourth, and then Allier was fifth. So you got big names in the top 5, and again, it all goes to a good cost, and the event as a whole was amazing, and the format ended up being great. So I don't think E3 in that event could have gone any better than what it did for the little, I guess, like we said before, the little experience with it all, the no having no trial run of something like this before.
Right. The one thing I do think they could have added, which would have been just probably chaotic but fun to see, especially with the debate of what the fans want to see squads, duos, solos, split those teams into four, have four of them pair up, and throw them into a squads as a warm up match as well, and see how chaotic it would have been to see a squads match with all those celebs. That would have been, I think that would have been cool to get it down to the wire and kind of see how those not necessarily pros, but just the big content creators and how they handle a small circle with a few good players left.
Yeah, I think that would have been awesome. Definitely, probably would have been chaotic. Um, but yeah, no, I mean, it's something that they could look at for maybe next year's E3, or if someone wants to take this format and just go from there. So I mean,
Mm,
again, it was a blast to watch.
yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, it was fun overall, and E3 was just a good way for Epic to show off what they kind of want to do in the future. Like I said, Ninja and Marshmallow do take home the top prize of that $1 million. Go ahead and donate to the oh dang it now my mind is blanking.
It
Was it?
was an
Oh yeah, the
Alzheimer's
Alzheimer's
thing.
Association.
I'm not sure what the exact name
I
was,
think it
but
was the
yes, it
main
was
one, the
for Alzheimer's.
national, like the biggest one there. So that was really cool to see them do that.
Gotcha.
And a lot of the other, there's a couple. One of the who was it? It was one of the females. She donated all the money she won to like her local pet, like one of the local like animal shelters.
That was Kitty Plays.
Place.
So
Can you
you're talking
imagine
$125,000
a
going to
little
a local
shelter
animal
like that?
shelter.
I'm sure it wasn't like a small. I'm sure it's just like a small shelter. It wasn't no big organization. That small or that small shelter is just rolling in dog food now.
But that's awesome, man,
Yeah,
because
for
I
sure.
mean, you definitely need stuff like that. And I mean, who doesn't love a puppy or a cat? I mean, come on.
All right. So E3, I think that's it. Nothing else for me. Anything for you?
No, I think that about wraps it up for E3.
All right. So then, let's see. Week 6 of Friday Fortnite did take place. There was a lot that happened in this week. Let me tell you, it was right up Keemstar's alley for drama alert. Keemstar loves the drama. He loves not creating it, but he loves being involved in it. Panda and I didn't watch all these matches Father's Day weekend. We were definitely both busy with different events happening, but we definitely did catch up on a lot of the news and see some of the big storylines as a whole. One of the biggest storylines, of course, Panda, when you look at it, is you see who's in the finals. We have four legit pro players that maybe aren't as big as some of these big content creators.
I mean, I wouldn't even say maybe. I mean, at this point in where we are at Fortnite, I don't think they're anywhere near. I mean, because everyone knows FaZe, everyone knows TSM, Optics, just because of how big of a name it is. People know that, but I mean, you're talking about some true hardcore gamers when you're coming down to 72 hours and Hogman versus Dementos and Mongrel.
Yeah, Liquid and Team Seeker are both bigger organizations, but these four players are definitely some of the not as big pro players when it comes to people that relatively know them. The Mongrel being someone who is definitely well known as this 13-year-old from I don't even know where he's from over across the pond. I do know that he's been featured on a little BBC thing there as being a 13-year-old pro. And I don't know about you, Panda, but when I was 13, if I played in an event and won $5,000, my parents were probably like, okay, this is real. You actually can make some money playing this game you do all the time. So I'm sure that's nice for him to show his parents, hey, look, I've been working hard in school. I've also been playing a lot of Fortnite. This is what I had to prove. I just got paid 5,000 for just winning one night, for just playing Fortnite for one day on a Friday. Like whoop de doo, it's easy money.
My my mother would look me in the eye and tell me I got lucky. So
She wouldn't believe that you worked for
no,
it. Oh, that's
no.
hilarious. All right, well, we see Ninja and Daquan. That was a very, very big combo there. Me and you sent some text back and forth about them. That was one we had our eyes on. They played against a former champion, Typical Gamer and Thief. They were able to beat them. Then they go right up against the FaZe Clan, Tfue and Cloaksy. That was a huge matchup as well. Ninja Daquan, they were able to clutch that match. They do have some choke issues later on, but they beat two people that have won 3 times combined. So that was a pretty big, on the side of Ninja and Daquan. I'm just kind of disappointed they couldn't finish it out and win everything, especially with how hard of a matchup they had. They ended up losing to Dr. Disrespect and Crafty. You mentioned that you were surprised to see them go as far as they did.
It blew my mind. We're talking about guys that got first rounded. I believe I know at least once, but I think multiple times they've been first rounded. Like bam, lose first round winners. Bam, lose first round losers. I mean, we're talking about guys that. I mean, let's be honest. Let's be honest. We're talking about Doctor Disrespect here. He's not. I mean, yeah, he's played some Fortnite, but this is a guy that plays PUBG. He doesn't. He's not a Fortnite guy.
Yes,
He's
that's
come out and
true.
said he hates Fortnite sometimes. So it's just one of those things that it's just you guys take a step back and you're like, well, what happened here? Because you have giant names of Ninja and Daquan, and you look and you're like, all right, they got back past Typical Gamer and Thief, insanely good gamers. They beat Tfue and Cloaksy. Everybody knows how good they are, 2-time champs. That you just go into that next match, you're like, there's no way these dudes are not going to the finals now.
Mm-hmm.
And they get beat by Disrespect and Crafty.
Yeah, that was definitely probably a pretty hard loss for them, especially when they knew they would have been up against that Team Secret team, that the young players that are really good. That would have been really interesting to see them go up against Ninja Daquan. Unfortunately, they dropped to the losers bracket. We see Dr. Disrespect and Crafty lose, of course, to the Team Secret boys. They move on to the semifinals. And the bottom side of this bracket, there weren't really as many big names down here. Of course, King Richard and Aimbot Calvin, with who was left. I would have thought we would have saw them make it through, but Avery and OP I think is a TSM streamer. They make it
Yes.
through and they end up facing Rice Gum and Tupac, which was also really interesting, just because Rice Gum's been in it like a few times, but he's been really busy, and he's actually pretty decent, able to uh, you know, beat some big enough names. Dr. Lupo and Ginger Pop. Ginger Pop's been someone who's been appearing on some streams now with them, and it ends up being just the pro scene. We see the Liquid and Team Secret down towards the end. The losers bracket takes forever, let me tell you. Not that there's any way they could avoid it, but I'm telling you, the freaking SK or the Team Secret squad literally just sat for like 2 hours waiting for the losers bracket to be wrapped up so they could figure out who they were going to play.
Yeah, but the losers bracket also brought some very interesting matches into it as well. You're talking about um, Ninja and Daquan beat Nick Mercs and Cypher after losing, and then they do end up going on to play the Liquid 72 hours and then Hogman.
Mm-hmm.
So they get their shot at these smaller guys, but Hogman in 72 hours win, obviously, considering they get back to the finals. Um, but then again, below that, you get Myth and Hamlin's beating King Richard and by Calvin, Tfue and Cloaksy, obviously in it till almost the end there when they face Myth and Hamlin's again. Which again, when you come down to a TSM phase match, can't miss it. Cannot miss match.
Yes.
But then Myth and Hamlin's obviously take that momentum all the way to the losers round 7, where again 72 hours and Hogman just end up rolling, and then they get back into the finals.
Yeah, that's one thing we kind of talked about. Let's go into the big drama of what happened at Friday Fortnite, and me and you will give our opinions on what side we kind of stand on. So basically, you got this Team Secret that comes in. Team Secret is a relatively big organization when it comes to in the esport world, I should say. Let me go ahead and pull up their Twitter account just so I can reference. They have about 300,000 followers, so they definitely are known in that kind of esports world. They have these two young players, and they start trash talk in a specific way, I should say. They kind of trash talk the event, kind of. They also say that pro players are greater than the entertainers, which I think that is what pissed Keemstar off. And this is where it comes down to: what does Keemstar value more? Does he value these smaller pro players that come in and wipe the table, or does he want a more fun environment, all these YouTubers and big Twitch streamers that are, competing every Friday for fun, and there is money involved, but it's bringing in a lot of views, and this was, I believe you said, one of the smallest view wise Friday Fortnite they had. You look at the finals, you don't see no TSM, no FaZe, no Ninja, any of the really big names. You don't see them in the finals. So maybe not everyone was tuning in because it was these smaller pros. So he banned Team Secret. He banned that organization from the tournament, which means Dementos and Mongrel can't play anymore unless they play under a different name, which I feel bad for them because they're just 13 and 17-year-olds. They just want to play the game. That's all they're here for. Unfortunately, maybe the social media director at Team Secret shouldn't have done that and got his team in trouble. Whoever was tweeting, was defending themselves, saying, I thought trash talk was fair game. Keemstar said like trash talk is fine, toxicity is fine, but when you're trashing like the event and like other things, that's not okay. I don't remember what the exact quote was. Anyways, bottom line is Keemstar makes the final decisions, I should say, and what he thinks is offensive, he can ban whoever he wants. I think it's unfortunate that 13-year-old and 17-year-old got banned in a kind of a way since they represent Team Secret. I don't know what you think, or if you think Keemstar is just kind of being a baby and he should just go along with the trash talk, or I don't know what your opinion is.
My opinion kind of leans towards where I think the tournament leans, and I think the tournament is going to start leading towards the entertainers now. And I think Keem took such offense to that because you're really ended up trashing the guys that are kind of getting you your. It's
Exposure.
hard to explain. It's yeah, you're trashing guys that are getting you the exposure and getting this game relevant. So if you come in and say pros better than entertainers, yeah, obviously your pro players are going to be the best in the world. But that doesn't mean you can come in and just take a shit on the guys that are setting the ground for you. And even then, those guys that are setting the groundwork are just as good. Because obviously TSM guys are pros. Obviously FaZe guys are pros. Ninja, if he wanted to, would be the highest sought after free agent, in my opinion.
For sure.
If that guy wanted to play for a pro team, no one's going to say no. So again, you're trashing these guys. Like, yeah, maybe they had a bad day, or yeah, you beat them, but you kind of got to have that respect of, I don't want to say respect your elders and get off my lawn kind of garbage, but like I said, I think at the end of the day, you got to respect where this all started, what's gotten this tournament so big, and I don't want to say Keemstar's doing the right thing because I don't think he's necessarily doing it right by banning him, but maybe a suspension, I guess, is maybe more of a better way of going about it. Like, look, you misunderstood how this goes. Next week you guys can't play. Just take a little time out, kind of respect it a little bit. Next week after that, you can be back in.
Yeah.
I don't know how he's going to do it, but I also kind of respect him for sticking up for these guys because, I mean, Keem's not stupid either. Keem knows that these guys are helping him and uh, his mojo and his the way he's viewed. So
Yeah, I mean,
so I think that guy he's gonna stick up for them no matter what, and it's like you said, it's one of those things that he's gonna have to decide how he wants this tournament to be.
right. And I'm not saying Keemstar's in it for the views. I'm not saying Keemstar's in it for all the attention he's getting, but when an event like this is getting more views than maybe The Walking Dead is currently, he's gonna want these entertainment. Someone like Rice Gum, who's one of the big. Rice Gum was in a Super Bowl commercial this year. Like that's the type of YouTuber you want in your tournament because it's more entertaining, and his fans are gonna watch him play. Do you want a 13-year-old mongrel from whatever who has 1,000 followers on Twitter and a few thousand on Twitch? Maybe not. Whether even though that kid is literally better than everyone else, obviously not, on a good day, but he just won, so yeah, he's super talented. But Keem's gonna figure out where he lies, and what's gonna be more important is keeping all these fun entertainers in it. Tim the Tatman, is he super good and dominating? No. but he brings about 30 to 40, maybe 30, I would say, on the high end of his fans and his viewers in. He's a big joke of the tournament, that he adds a lot of fun to it. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see what happens.
And a guy like Tim's been playing well too, so you're not really going to bash on him there either. And I didn't necessarily mean that Keem's in it for the views. Obviously, it's just one of those things that Keem, I think Keem respects the growth that it's had.
Yeah,
He did this for he did this for these guys that are out there playing this game every day for for people to watch on Twitch. And he's like, look, hey, I'm gonna help you guys out. Here's a tournament I'm putting together. Here's just a new platform for you guys to play on.
here's twenty
Let's have
thousand
some fun.
dollars.
Right, that helps too.
Yeah. Um,
But no, it's just one of those things that I mean, and some people I saw on Twitter said they even said they're like, well, hey, these guys should be in the Saturday streams. And now he's talking about bringing those back. It's one of those things where, again, are you going to base it off of Twitch and views, or are you going to base it off of skill?
yeah.
I think I lean towards views.
He,
That's probably not a popular way, but I think for this particular tournament, I think you got to go views.
Yeah, you know that's what Keem wants because he literally tweets out, "Give me a big Twitch or YouTuber that should be in this week's event." Someone dropped out, and he doesn't. So that's what he wants. Like he wants someone that has a lot of viewers and a lot of people involved and that play Fortnite. He doesn't say, which he has tweeted this out as well, but he doesn't always say, "Give me the most talented Fortnite player out there." He's definitely maybe looking for someone who's bigger, has a lot of fans, a lot of he has like their own community that he would want to bring into Friday Fortnite.
Yeah, it's just one of those things that is gonna be a topic of discussion in weeks forward. I think it's something that we don't have a definite answer to now, maybe in the next few days or leading up to this Friday, but it's not something that's gonna figure itself overnight. Obviously, it's gonna be something that he needs to kind of think about and talk over with whoever is helping run it and just go from there. You got to make a decision on it.
SK or not SK, sorry. There's two orgs. There's Secret and SK. I keep saying SK by accident. Team Secret should not have come into Friday Fortnite for their first time in trash talk. They should have waited a week. I think a week from now, maybe Keem would have been a little, maybe more okay with it. But they came in like week one talking trash. Keem's like, "Oh, hold up, take a minute, like, or wait a minute, like, what are you doing?
And
Chill."
that and that kind of goes to the whole respect thing. It's like you're jumping in your first one, you're talking all this shit, and yet you got guys like, again, I hate to keep saying the big names, but you got Ninja, TSM, FaZe that are laying the groundwork, and you just kind of shit all over it. So kind of establish yourself first, make a little presence known, get your name out there, then have some fun with it.
Yeah.
Maybe not just jump in and just I don't know, just jump in and just kind of I don't want to say ruin it, but just kind of just be toxic about it.
And that's where I think the team secret, maybe this person that's running the social media, thought. Like, I really do think they didn't meant no harm. They're talking to Keemstar here. He's the host of Drama Alert. All he ever does is talk about drama and host that kind of stuff. So they're probably thinking, this will be great for us. We'll get in a little Twitter beef with Keemstar for fun. And Keemstar was not having it. So I do kind of feel bad for Team Secret
Nope.
because they were like, oh shit, I thought this was going to be fun. And he's actually mad. Whoops, backpedal, 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 and it was too late. He was already mad enough to ban them.
Yeah. No, it's unfortunate to see someone that good get banned, especially since they're one. But I
Yeah,
don't
for
know,
sure.
man. He's gotta figure out what he wants. He's got to set up some guidelines at this point.
Yeah, well, that was week 6, June 15th. The week coming up, a day ago. Actually, I'm looking at Keemstar's Twitter right now. Hip hop artist Lil Yachty teams up with FaZe Adapt for week 7 Friday Fortnite. So there's already been a few people announced. This is where you're bringing views right here. This is the answer we just talked about. He's bringing in a rapper like Lil Yachty to play. Lil Yachty probably plays on the Xbox or PlayStation. I guarantee he's not no Nick Merck. So that's the entertainment value right there, and that's going to be really interesting to see. Next is going to be Marshmallow. Next is going to be other famous people now, and you're going to see Keem lean towards a pro-am event where you have celebrities playing with big gamers.
And that's what I was just about to say is that maybe this sets even more groundwork for a different kind of tournament where you end up having your pro players in one tournament and your kind of big entertainers and celebrities in another. So then that would make an interesting choice then for your pros slash entertainers like a Myth, like a Cloakzy or a Tfue or Hamlin's or any of them, what do? You go play with the pros and kind of run those and see where you're at and see if you can get better and grow there, or do you keep growing your own brand in these kind of Friday Fortnite tournaments? So there's a lot of different ways and things to look at in these next few weeks.
Yeah, for sure. I think at that time, if you're signed with an org, you have to go the competitive route, like Myth and Ham. They need to work on that duo together so we can see them dominate the world. I mean, or not the world, the World Cup. And I get their entertainers and I get their brands really important, but I don't know. They're signed with TSM. TSM fans want to see them compete. They want to see them on top. So, yeah, that's definitely going to be interesting. It's the next couple of weeks. We're on week 7. Who knows where this is going? Who knows what Keemstar has in the plan? He is already planning other, not necessarily him, but UMG, I guess, is planning and doing other events. They're doing Xbox 1v1s. They're doing a 2v2 PlayStation. They're just doing a lot of other events with smaller and smaller people. So that's pretty sweet.
Is
Um,
definitely growing, that's for sure.
yeah.
And you know what, the one of the best ways to follow along with these smaller organizations and teams that you don't know is it's to follow our buddy
Oh.
who may or may not be coming on the podcast this
Yes.
week or maybe even early next week, depending on how things fall here.
Hopefully, our friend Hunter over at the FPL Fortnite Esports News, the Twitter page, he's created this a little while ago, and he's really been grinding out information, constantly tweeting out some FPL boards, is what he calls them. It's complete Excel sheets of every team, every player, every free agent. I'm talking about people you never heard of. This way, you can find new streamers on Twitch that are really good players. Just free agents and the talented Fortnite, the talented people that are coming up in Fortnite. It's a completely different world than your entertainers, and that's what I love about it. That's what I love about his page. He's gonna be coming on. Hopefully, we're gonna record Wednesday. We'll probably release it late this week. That is our current plan. But we're gonna talk about the current scene, talk about which big orgs are coming in, what he's been hearing about. Whether pro players are excited about the duo, solo, World Cup, or they rather go back to squads. It should be pretty interesting interview with him and just for us to start working with him more and more when it comes to the Fortnite news, because that's what me and Panda are obviously focusing on as well. While right now we're talking about the bigger events, these more famous, entertainer, big YouTuber, Twitch events, we currently don't have really small tournaments with just the pros in it. So yeah, that's one thing to look forward to. Nice segue there, Panda. I definitely did not pick up with where you were going.
I very rarely have good ideas, but every once in a while they just kind of pop in, and I'm like, hey, segue time.
Oh yeah. Well, the last thing we do have on our list to talk about is just Ninja did recently announce his first really big partnership with Red Bull and Red Bull Esports. He announced a partnership on stream. He also announced the little event they're putting on, and I say little, which I don't think it's going to be little at all. It's super interesting. It's super early, so we're not going to talk too much into detail. We will have probably a whole episode on this down the line because it's about a month away. It is the Red Bull Rise Till Dawn event. And now, I don't know about you, but I wouldn't be able to play in this event. It's literally taking place all night long. I'd be asleep at the keyboard. Like it starts at 8:21 p.m.
I
and ends at 5:35 a.m.
I couldn't do it. I work has killed any late night schedule I like to plan anymore. So no, I would pass out.
Yeah. So Ninja's gonna be there, and should I also mention it's sold out already? It's sold out within the first day, so you can't go anymore unless you
Wow.
have some major pull. The other big thing me and you did talk about before, this is on the 99th floor of Chicago's Willis Tower. Let me also throw that out there. This is going to be on this is going to be insane. Just like the whole production. You were literally going to be looking over Lake Michigan. It's going to be badass. The big thing me and you already did talk about is the prize pool. We were surprised seeing a name like Red Bull and a name like Ninja being involved, and the prize pool is like 2,000 for the top spot. That's definitely kind of low than what Ninja is kind of used to. His Las Vegas event was somewhere around 50,000 or something. So that was really surprised me. And then the scoring has not been announced yet. They don't really know how it's going to score. You even talked about how it's going to be like a continuous score type system, and you're not going to know who wins till the end of or I guess in the morning. But I don't know. It's going to be weird.
Right. From the little bit I've seen and kind of the little bit they've announced, my understanding of it all is that it's going to be a long grinding night. They're going to determine a top five, and then that's your winners. I'm not sure how, because even then they just say top five and score. So I mean, does that count kills racking up? Does that count placing? Like you get a higher score for getting first. There's a lot of different things that are going to be announced. I'm sure later on, getting closer to the event, and like you said, that'll be a pretty much be a podcast in itself. I'm sure once that comes out.
Yeah. Hey, it'll be interesting to see if they're just playing against ninjas, just playing against like just whoever's in the crowd. They pull special people up like they kind of did at the Vegas event, or if they're going to be bringing out some of these smaller pros that are really talented than me or less known to see if they can beat Ninja. All I know is like fifth prize pool is like $250 to split between the two teams that win. So it's like, man, if you're making a big trip out to Chicago for that, that's not worth it. So we'll have to see if it's obviously not made to attract the big pros with the prize pool that's there. But people are going to want to see Myth go. Like that's always the big thing. Oh, can Myth take down Ninja? Or you're going to see
And I think
Tfue
that's where
or
the
Cloaksies.
exposure comes in.
Right? Exactly. Yeah.
Is that how? Like, do you want? Like, do you want to say, all right, hey, prize pool isn't great, but it's Ninja,
Hmm.
it's Red Bull, people are gonna watch. And so, I mean, do you want to get your name out there more? So, like you said, it's interesting to kind of look at these smaller events and
Yeah.
just the way they handle themselves.
I mean, it's on the 99th floor of Chicago of the Wills Tower. So I mean, it kind of sucks. It's not Chicago's not far from me and you. I would have bought a ticket if I had if it wasn't crazy expensive. Oh my god, I'd be driving to Chicago for sure, sleeping in my vehicle to see all that since it's so close to us. Like that would be badass. But it's sold out already, so we're out of luck. We'll have to watch on Twitch like everyone else.
Yeah, and I mean, you know me, I can fall asleep at any time. So, God knows I'm not getting.
Oh
Yeah,
god.
I am not staying up from 8 till 5 in the morning.
So we're watching the rerun is what you're saying. There's no way we're
Right.
gonna
I will
watch
be
all of it.
watching the highlights the next morning on Twitter.
All right. Well, this was our third episode of the Tilted Takes podcast. I hope you all have been enjoying. I'm trying to get the word out there and just trying to get more and more people involved. Of course, we are trying to cover a Fortnite esports scene that is currently being created as we speak. So we're this is our alpha, our beta. We're going right along with it, growing the show in different ways as we continue. If you enjoy it, make sure you subscribe to us on the iTunes or the follow or whatever it is on Google Play. Follow us on Twitter as well at Tilted Takes Podcast. You're gonna no, excuse me, just at Tilted Takes. Yeah, we are the Tilted Takes Podcast on Twitter. Our Twitter accounts, of course, Endless55VG, and it's the Panda Bear. That's all I have for this episode. Tell your friends if you enjoy it. Let everyone know about it. Other than that, Panda, I don't got anything else. Do you have anything else?
I do not, man. I'm excited to see where we go. I'm excited to see where the Fortnite scene goes. I mean, we're gonna keep adapting to it as it adapts, and I mean, I appreciate anybody and everybody that's given us a listen and given us any bit of your time. So I'd like to thank you guys for listening, even this early in the adventure. So about wraps up everything I have for this week.
All right. Well, once again, we'll be doing hopefully an interview with Hunter from the FPL Fortnite Esports News Twitter page, and we'll be getting that out to you hopefully later this week. Still no complete schedule set, like we've said. Everything is just we're winging it right now. Since we have something to talk about, we record. But that's all I have. Thank you for listening. GG's, man.
GG's, everybody.